Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Forge from Iron. You're going to have to bear with me. As you can see, I am on my Todd. So you are basically my wingman. You are my Duke. Duke might turn up. He might not. So you guys in the live chat, you're going to have to I'm going to have to bounce things off of you guys. So you're going to have to get involved a little bit more than normal. Anyway, please don't forget, as I usually ask you to do, to like, comment on, and share the stream to your social media platform. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and make sure you hit the bell icon for alerts and new content. As always, ladies and gentlemen, we do thank you very much indeed for your support in this particular matter. And I'm going to press the button. You know what else we're asking you to support, don't you? Forge from Iron is proud to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations from Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough, 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United Football Club, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, Expedient Security, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons. Okay, let's get down to it, ladies and gentlemen. So last night at London Stadium, it was Matchday 5 of 6 in Group B of the UEFA Europa Conference League. It finished West Ham United 1, Silkeborg 0, which ensured that West Ham progress as group winners. We already knew that we were going into the next stage of the competition. It was just a question of whether we went left or right. Were we going to play against a team dropping down from the Europa League in the playoff round, or were we going to go straight through to the last 16? Well, we've done the latter. We've negotiated a pathway. Our next game is not until March, where we will then play a game, 2-legger, to then sort of hopefully go on towards Prague. Let's be completely honest about it. Now, I was one of the people that went to the stadium last night. It wasn't a full house by any stretch of the imagination, but we managed to get the job done. I can't sit here and say that it was a particular match that will live long in the memory, a free-flowing game, lots of frills and spills and all the rest of it. It wasn't. I'll be completely honest. It was a little bit of a tough watch at times. But the fact of the matter is that it was just get the point that we needed. And obviously we got all 3. Get the point that we needed to secure the group winners spot. And one of the pleasing things about it, and I'll just get this up on the screen with you guys to share, and I'll come back to the comments in a moment. I can see you guys are chipping in. And any of you that want to sort of make any points, I'll go through the comments shortly, and, we'll go through it. This here was the starting lineup that Mr. Moyes put out. Areola started in goal, which really was not a shock. But here was the thing where I was a little bit sort of, was a back 5 in a game at home against a team that we've already beaten. I did look at that and go, yeah, not really terribly inspiring. The one good thing, though, that I have to say is that right in the heart of that back 5 was Nathan Agard, or is it Naya Fagerd? I get confused because the manager calls him Nathan and he works with him every day. So maybe his name is Nathan. I don't know. But Naya Fagerd was in the heart of the back 5. Obviously, aside of him were Kufal, Johnson, Ogbonna, and Emerson. The midfield trio, was Fornell's Coventry getting a rare start, and Lanzini, and then up top the strike partnership of Ben Rama and Antonio. Now, So that was the starting lineup, and I got to say, in my humble opinion, as someone that was at the game, I was really impressed with Naya Fagerd. I got to say, he looked. Bear in mind, this is his first team debut. He played a handful of friendlies. He obviously got injured in the friendly away at Rangers. I was lucky enough to see him play in a preseason friendly at Reading's Madejski Stadium, or whatever it's called now. I think they've changed the name for sponsorship reasons, whatever. But I thought when he played, I know it was Reading, I know it was a preseason friendly. I actually looked at him and thought he looked a really good player, and was going to be someone that would come in and make our defence an awful lot more balanced, because the only left-footed centre back we had, orthodox centre back, was at that point Angelo Ogbonna, and he's left-footed. Left-footed centre backs are at something of a premium. He looked good in that Reading game. I was really excited. When he got injured against Rangers, I was like, oh no. And I knew that he had, there was people that had told me that, look, his ankles are a bit of an issue through his career. So yeah, that's typical. Anyway, he obviously came into the starting lineup yesterday, and it was very apparent very quickly. If any of you guys haven't seen the footage, because obviously some of you might not have seen it, some of you might have only seen highlights, so you might not have got it. I was there in the stadium, I'm quite high, and I've got a good panorama of what's going on. From fairly early on, he's ordering people around. He's telling people where to go. He wasn't backwards in coming forwards. He really wasn't. He was showing good leadership qualities. He was calm. He was composed. His range of passing was really good. All right, yes, he's playing against a team that, with all due respect to Silkeborg, probably quite a limited team, probably a good team to get your first team debut against. But he can only play who's in front of him. He looked good. He did look good. Now, I know there's this thing about, and I'm not going to talk too much about the Manchester United game. We're going to do that in the match preview tomorrow. But I looked at him, and he lasted for most of the match. He came off later in the second half, but I know there was a lot of talk. There's been a lot of talk about he's not going to be fit for Manchester United, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, do you know what? What's the harm of putting him on the bench even? Do you know what I mean? It's like, maybe get him the last 5-10 minutes just to, again, get a few more minutes under his belt, build his fitness, build his match sharpness. So, very, very impressed with him. Very, very impressed. As far as the performance was concerned, not terribly impressive. Like I say, got to hold my hands up. I wasn't on the edge of my seat for much of it. I mean, the stats paint a picture that, we were the best team, but it was two teams that were not really at their best. I mean, just looking here, I'll tell you what, I'll share this with you guys if you're not aware of it. Again, I'll go full screen with that. There's the stats from the night. 15 shots to 3 in our favour, 5 on target to 3 for Silkeborg. Possession was 53-47. We had a pass accuracy of 88%, which is pretty decent, to be fair. And just looking down here, we was caught offside 6 times to their 1, and we had 6 corners to their 1. So all those metrics seem to suggest that we were the team on the attack. But as I say, it wasn't a good watch. It really wasn't. But fundamentally, we've won the group. We're through to the next stage of the Conference League. Now, I'm going to go through a few little bits and pieces as to how the rest of the Conference League competition pans out. Because again, there might be some of you that are thinking, well, what happens with this? What happens with that? So we're going to go through that in a minute. But I'm now going to turn my attention to the live chat and just see who amongst you is watching. So hello, James. Hope you are well. Elliot, good evening to you. Rebecca, hope you are well. Lee jumps in. He says, hi, Rob and chat. Hope everyone's well. Yeah, I'm good. I've made it to Friday. I'm in one piece. And to be honest with you, that's all you can ever ask for. I could tell you a story that, leave that there. Good evening, Mr. Gates says, Andy Walsh, hope you are well. He says hello to the chat. A few little hellos going back and forth. Charlie's in the building. Hope you are well. Mr. Glander, hope you're well, sir. And say hello to your boy for us. Irish Tommy, hope you're well. Aguerd's pace is incredible. Mate, honestly, he was excellent last night. For me, I think he was man of the match, in my humble opinion. You could probably turn around and say that he was probably the best of a bad bunch, and that is probably a fair assertion on things. But again, that's not really his fault. You know what I mean? You know, he can only do what he can do. I thought he looked calm, composed, assured. There was one, I think it in the second half. There was a Silkeborg. There was a ball that was played forward to a Silkeborg player, and I'm fairly sure that this player had a good head start on him, and he ate up that ground. And I remember turning to my son and going, "Ooh, wow." Yeah, he did look a bit rapid. He looked a classy defender. Charlie says he really likes Gerd a lot. Didn't have tons to do defensively, but what he needed to do, he did well. His passing, though, was top tier. Hyped to see more. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there was one pass, I think it was in the first half. He played a 50, 60-yard ball, and it went on a sixpence. Bang. And I was like, yeah, not bad at all. Right, so a few little back and forth. Elliot saying he's off to the Norwich Stoke match tomorrow. Well, good luck with that, mate. Hope you get the result you need. Worrying we couldn't score from open play. Yeah, I mean, look, yeah, it's a. I mean, I don't personally think it was a penalty. Let's just touch on that real quick. The penalty, I thought, bit on the soft side, but. Yeah, I mean, there was no VAR. That probably, for once, helped us, the fact that there was no VAR. So the referee points to the spot. Lanzini stepped up. I thought that was a bit strange. I thought when the penalty was awarded, I don't know about you guys, I thought, oh, this will be Benny. You know, he had a good penalty against Bournemouth. I thought, yeah, okay, no problem at all. And then up stepped Lanzini, and I thought, now, I know Lanzini doesn't have a bad record from penalties, but I mean, he had a penalty in the corresponding fixture, didn't he? And although he scored it, he lost his footing. It was quite a scruffy penalty that he scored. And I just got a little bit more confidence in Ben Rama as a dead ball specialist. So I was a little bit surprised at that. But Ben Rama didn't seem to be too bothered about it. He seemed to be quite happy to acquiesce to Lanzini and say, yep, fine, no problem, up you go, mate. And to be fair, he put the ball away where it needed to go from our point of view. It was the only goal of the match, and that was how the scores finished. 1-0. Not really too much to say. You know, it was a fairly drab affair, if I'm being completely honest about it. The stadium was probably about 2/3 full, there or thereabouts. But like I say, we've got the job done. We're into the next round of European competition. We've got out of a European group for a second successive season, which, you know, let's be completely honest about it. It's not something that we've got a pedigree on doing repetitively. So listen, reasons to be cheerful. I'm very much. I try to be, as much as possible, I try to be someone that's glass half full rather than glass half empty. Listen, I know that there does seem to be a little bit of a split in the fan base at the minute. There does seem to be very much two camps, you know, sort of Moyes in, Moyes out, if you will. Now, at the minute, I'm not Moyes out. I am, look, you know, he's done what he's done, and we've got to give it time. He's got players that have come in. A lot of them have got to get used to the Premier League. Some of them have been injured, like Agerd, like Cornet. Paqueta's got an injury as well, just as he looked like he was getting to grips with the Premier League. You've got to kind of factor a lot of these things in. I know we had 180 million to spend in the summer, but that was probably us playing catch up from previous transfer windows where we did little to no investment in the playing staff. But I can understand. I mean, Epic's just put it there. He's on the Moyes outside. Now, I respectfully disagree with Epic, okay? But do I understand where Epic's coming from? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I can completely understand where Epic's coming from. I don't agree with it. I fundamentally think that at the minute, he's doing a decent enough job up to this point. You know, he's not really let us down. But I can understand that sometimes the football is a little tough to watch. It is a little tough to watch. But it's a results-based business. And like I say, he's got top 6 one season, top 7 the next season, European semi-final. All right, this season's been a little bit up and down as far as the Premier League's concerned, certainly. I mean, the Conference League, we've absolutely flown through. We've won the 5 group games. We won the 2 games prior to the group stage against Viborg. So that's 7 wins out of 7 in that competition. So I can understand people like Epic being, look, it's just not for me. Fine. I'm not sort of like someone that's completely closed-minded and going to say, I can't believe you're saying Moyes out. What are you saying? I get it. I just disagree. He says you've got to blame Moyes' tactics for that. As far as not scoring from open play, he's saying, yeah. I mean, like I say, I'm on record. I mean, I don't get it when he puts 2 goalkeepers on the bench. I mean, that just does my head in. Making substitutions at sort of like strange times, things like that. 5 at the back in a game where with a home team, we've won the previous 4 matches out of 4. Why are we going 5 at the back? I mean, to me, it seems like a negative formation. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm not a Premier League coach, but I look and I go, you've got 10 outfield players and you've put half of them in your defence. To me, I don't see that as right. If it had been the away leg, I might have understood. I might have gone, we're away from home, need a point, blah, blah, blah. I might have been able to sort of get my head around it. As the home team, it just strikes me as rather bizarre. James comes in, says, Lanzini's got 4 out of 4 and Benny's 1 out of 2, I think. Is that right? I never knew that. Charlie comes in, he says, I think 5 at the back is potentially the way forward to actually play attacking football under Moyes. But we definitely need some better wing backs for that. Well, that's the thing. I mean, sort of, let's say this. I think that right wing back is probably my area of concern. I think that if we're going to play 5 at the back, I don't think that left wing back is as much of an issue for us as right wing back is. I love Vladimir Kufal. I think he does everything, up to this point, up to this season. He's been a very good servant for the club, but he's regressed. Let's be completely honest. I'm sure he's a great character in the dressing room. I'm sure that he's a really nice guy, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, can he play as a right wing back? I don't think he can. The player that we had 2 seasons ago that was getting like, what did he get 2 seasons ago? Was it like 13 assists from right back or right wing back? He was deployed between the 2 positions. This is not the same player. I don't know what's happened with him. He's gone backwards. And that's all there is to it. Kent comes in and says, job done, we move on. The negativity is killing me from some of the fan base, but I respect people's opinions. Yeah, listen, like I say, that's kind of where I'm at. I get why some people are Moyes out. I don't personally agree with it. And I think you've said it as well, Kent. Be careful what you wish for. When we had Moyes the first time, people weren't totally in love with his football then. Different situation, I know. He was saving us from relegation, and we waved him a cheery goodbye, and we got in a sexy manager in Manuel Pellegrini, and that went really well, didn't it? So, yeah, it is a little bit of a case of be careful what you wish for. But like I say, I can understand why some people were just like, look, this is just doing my head in. I think it was 3 at the back with Emerson and Kufal pushed right up. It was when we had the ball, when we was attacking, which was most of the time fundamentally. But when we was defending, they dropped right back in, and it was a conventional 5 at the back. It sort of flitted between the 2. Kent asks, James asks Kent, but are they really West Ham fans? There are probably enough of there's enough people that I've heard that I know are West Ham fans and are not terribly impressed with Moyes' tactics. And in fact, here we go. Tommy's one of them. You can't turn around and say, is Tommy a West Ham fan? Because I know he is. It's as simple as that. But he says he's Moyes out too. We're horrible to watch and underperforming because Moyes shackles the players. Imagine what Potter could do with our players. Do you know what? He was one of the managers that in the summer, I think I said it to someone, if Moyes went tomorrow and we had to get a new manager, at that point, this was in the summer, there was 2 Premier League managers that I thought that were realistic candidates. Now, obviously, things have changed, but one of them was at the time Graham Potter, and the other one was Brendan Rodgers. I would still take Rodgers. I mean, like I say, I'm still Moyes in. I'm not Moyes out at this moment in time. But if he was to go, and I know Brendan Rodgers hasn't had a great start himself, but I do think he's been let down at Leicester. I think he would be a good shout to get in if Moyes was no longer the manager. But like I say, I'm not for 1 minute advocating Moyes out. As I say, I fundamentally think, yes, the football isn't great, but we keep saying it's a results-based business. And at the minute, we're in the last 16 of the Conference League. We're 10th in the Premier League. Yes, the football's a little bit functional, I think is the word I would use. But like I say, what do we want? I mean, I remember we played some beautiful football under Gianfranco Zola. Look at his win percentage. Not good. Charlie says, being honest, Moyes will always be more defensive than we want, whether it's 4 or 5. With 5, we can control games more. Weirdly, we attack with more players and it allows us to support the striker more. Fair point. Bill, hope you're well, mate. Thanks for coming along. It's more about mentality rather than formation for me. You can play 4-4-2 and still be defensive. Last few games, we've created loads of chances compared to the start of the season, so we're gelling. That is true. We are creating chances. It just seems that for whatever reason, we're not converting. Our conversion percentage is quite low. I mean, what was it against? Was it the Bournemouth game? We had like 20 shots, but only about 4 of them were on target. That's not good. That's not good. So we need to do some more shooting drills at Rush Green, I think, Mr. Moyes. Kent says, I have said be careful what you wish for. I also said at the start of the season, Moyes could be a victim of his own relative success. Exactly. You know, we finished 6th, we've finished 7th. We've spent £180 million in the summer, as well as a European semi-final, of course. We've got to factor that in. And it's a natural thing, Ken. As you say, he is a victim of his own success. So our expectations have been raised from he saved us from relegation twice and then finishes 6th, then finishes 7th, semi-final. And we automatically are going, well, hang on a minute. He's just spent 180 million. Oh, and there will be some fans that will be, their expectation will be top 6 should be an absolute minimum. Now, whether you or I think that is realistic, that's another thing. But there will be some fans that will say top 6, top 8, that should be a minimum. And if we don't achieve that, then not for me. Charlie comes in. He says, he agrees with Bill. We're taking more shots, but they're lower quality chances, so less likely to be on target. For me, it's about patience, trusting the process will deliver eventually. Indeed. Right. Now, let's have a little look. In case anybody there is unsure about how this goes, I'm just looking here about how the knockout phase will go. So in the draw for the knockout round playoffs, 8 group winners will be seeded. So obviously one of them is us. And the 8 Europa League group third place teams will be unseeded because obviously the teams that finished third in the Europa League drop down into this playoff round where they play the runners-up from the Conference League. So the seeded teams will be drawn against the unseeded teams, with the seeded teams hosting the second leg. Teams from the same association can't be drawn against each other. So that's them taken care of. Now, this is where we come in. In the draw for the round of 16, the 8 group winners will be seeded, and the 8 winners of the knockout round playoffs will be unseeded. So this basically means, in case you weren't aware of this, when we play the last 16 tie, the second leg for us will be our home leg. Same as what happened last season when we played Sevilla, because we obviously won the Europa League group that we was in at that time. We then played Sevilla in the last 16, if you remember, and the second leg was at London Stadium. Well, it will be the same when we get into the last 16. And just to mark your card, as far as that's concerned, the draw for that particular round of the Conference League is on the 24th of February. The first leg will be the 9th of March, And the second leg, which will be, like I say, that will be the London Stadium, because we will be one of the 8 seeded teams, will be on the 16th of March. So book your days off now, would be my advice. I'm hoping that's going to be a rocking atmosphere like the Sevilla game was, because that was a special night. It really was. Now, just going back to the live chat just to see, James comes in, says, if the Moyes Out Brigade had their way, at least we'd all have free entry to watch West Ham play. So fair play to them for that. Unless Hackney Marshes have started charging. I don't think they have, mate. I don't think they have. Irish Tommy says, we're not finishing in a European spot this season. We'll need to win a cup. Listen, if we won the Conference League and finished 14th, for me, that's success. That's European silverware. We haven't won silverware of any real note since 1980. So if we won the Conference League and therefore qualified for the Europa League next season, I'd take it. Pete, hope you're well. Yay! Listen, it takes a bit of reading to sort of like and rereading to get your head around it. But once you've got it all sussed, it's actually not so bad. Right. Okay. A few of the lads just saying hello to each other and whatever. So that's that. So we will have the second leg as the last 16 at London Stadium. That's a given. Now, should we get past that, there are no seedings at that point. Quarterfinals and beyond, there are no seedings. And at that point, if you have 2 teams or more than 2 teams from the same association, then they could at that point be drawn against each other. But it's very unlikely, I feel. In fact, I don't think it's possible. Well, no, actually, no. I think there is a possibility. There's one team that could drop down that might be from England, but you'll see that in a minute. What I'm going to do, I'm going to share with you guys where is it? So this is the Conference League. I'm going to share this with you first. Bear with. Right. Okay. So this one, I'm going to share this with you, and I'll go full screen with that, and I'll get rid of that banner that's just going along the bottom. So if anybody's not quite sure, because I've got to be honest with you, I've not really looked too intently at the other groups and all the rest of it. I'm only interested in our group, but now I'm starting to get interested. So this is the Conference League. This is Group A. So you've got Istanbul, Başakşehir here, and Fiorentina. They're through. They're qualified. Not much more to see here. That's us there at Group B. So we're through. Job done. And it's now between Silkeborg and Anderlecht as to who goes through as runners-up. Group C, Villarreal. Again, they've already won the group. That's all done. So it's between Lech and Hapoel Beersheva as to who goes through as the runners-up. Group D, well, now this one's quite interesting because you've got Nice and Partizan on 8 points in first and second, respectively. Cologne are on 7 points, and Slovaco are on 4 points. Quite an interesting thing. So as you can see there, none of them are guaranteed of going through to any of the next part of this competition. Group E is AZ Alkmaar and Dnipro have already qualified, so that is all done and dusted. Again, nothing much more to see here. Group F, Djurgården have qualified. Hang on, what have I done there? I've pressed the wrong button. Djurgården have qualified, won the group, job done. It's now between Molde and Ghent as to who finishes runners-up. Shamrock Rovers cannot finish. Well, they could finish third, but it would take some ridiculous goal difference swing for that to happen. I can't see it. Then we move on. Group G is Sivasspor. They're qualified, so it's now between CFR Cluj and Slavia Prague. I mean, it's very, very unlikely that Balkani will get anything above where they're at. Group H, a lot to be decided there. Slovan Bratislava, Basel, Punic, and Zalgiris. Again, you look there, none of them have got an assured path through into the next stage. So that's that pretty much done. So then you're left with the question of who is going to come down from the Europa League. And that's where it could get quite interesting. So let me share this with you, ladies and gentlemen. Just real quick, do bear with. Just got to press some buttons, and by the miracle of the internet, and I will go full screen with it. There we go. Okay, so Group A. Arsenal are on 12 points. They've played 5 and won 4. PSV are second. They are on 10 points. So that's done and dusted. Now, who finishes third? That's really what we're interested in from this point on. So, because the third place team will be the team that drops down into the Conference League. So, is it going to be Bodo Glimt or is it going to be Zurich? Well, I guess to find the answer out of that, we probably need to know, well, who's playing who. So just have a little scroll down here, ladies and gentlemen, in case you're not aware of this. Bodo Glimt play against PSV Eindhoven, with PSV being the away team, and Zurich have to go to the Emirates Stadium. Now, given that Arsenal are already through to the next round, it may well be that Arsenal put out something of a scratch team. So that might give perhaps Zurich a little bit of an advantage. But then again, PSV are also qualified as well. So maybe they might do the same thing. It'll be quite interesting to see how that one plays out. But it'll be either Bodo Glimt or Zurich that drop down into the Conference League. Then we move on to Group B. Fenerbahce and Rennes, they're done and dusted. So whoever finishes third in this group, it's between AEK Larnaca and Dynamo Kiev. Now, again, we need to know who's playing who in that final fixture. And if we scroll down here, what we'll discover is that Dynamo Kiev have the home tie against Fenerbahce. Rennes have a home tie against AEK Larnaca. Again, Rennes and Fenerbahce have already qualified. Are they going to rest players? So I would probably give the advantage there to AEK Larnaca as being the team that are most likely to go through from that particular group. But you never know. Kiev might spring a surprise. And that'd be something of a fairy tale, I would think, given the situation in Ukraine. So the part of me that always likes to pull for the underdog, I'm probably going to pull for Dynamo Kiev on that one. But it's gonna be a tall order, I think. And then we move to Group C. So Betis have sewn that group up. There they are, 13 points, job done. But here's an interesting one because the current Conference League champions are there in third place, Roma. So there they are. Ludogorets and Roma both have 7 points. HJK, forget about them. They're out of the picture. They've only got 1 point. So it's between Ludogorets and Roma as to who drops down. Now, once again, let's have a little look at who's playing who in that last fixture. If we scroll down here, ladies and gentlemen, look at that. Now, that's going to be an interesting one. It's a winner-take-all shootout between Roma and Ludogorets. Now, you would probably say home advantage might come into play there. I can't see either team putting out a weakened team there. As I say, it's all to play for. Now, they obviously played each other in the first round of this competition, and that finished Ludogorets 2, Roma 1. So there wasn't much to choose between them on that particular occasion, and there isn't much to choose between them in this particular stage of the group. Look at that. Both on 7 points. So I think this one could be an interesting one. I personally would probably prefer Ludogorets rather than Roma to drop down. That's just me. But so I'm probably gonna say, come on, Jose Mourinho's boys, and let Ludogorets drop down. And if we get them, that's fine. Roma, I'm not too sure. I'd be too keen to sort of like lock horns with them in the last 16. But, we're going to have to play the big boys at some point. So maybe get it out of the way nice and early. Group D, Union St. Gilloise, they've wrapped it up. That's all done. Now, Malmo, they're out of the picture. Forget about them. So again, third place, it's between Union Berlin and Braga. So now I looked at this earlier. I think if I remember rightly, it's Union Berlin and St. Gilloise play each other, with Braga having a home tie against the whipping boys Malmo. So you would probably suggest that Braga should be able to take 3 points there, which puts them on 10 points, which means that Union Berlin have got to get something against Union St. Gilloise. Now, again, I'm looking at this and thinking, well, if Union St. Gilloise puts out a sort of weakened team, which is very likely for them to do, then that probably gives the advantage to Union Berlin in a funny sort of way. But they're the two teams it's between in Group D, Berlin and Braga. Portugal will be quite a nice place to go if we get drawn against them. I wouldn't mind that. Now, here we go. So Group E, Real Sociedad on 15 points, Manchester United on 12 points. That's all done and dusted. So who's going to finish third? Well, it's looking like it's probably going to be Sheriff, although Omonia maybe. But then again, you look at that, they played each other on the opening day with Ammonia being the home team and Sheriff went and won 3-0. So given that that this is going to be between Sheriff and Ammonia, with Sheriff being the home team, you would probably suggest that Sheriff are going to wrap up third place, I think it's fair to say. But you never know. Football's a funny old game, as someone once said. Group F, Lazio, Sturm on 8 points. Feyenoord and Midtjylland both on 5 points. Now, this is on a knife edge. Look at that. I mean, literally, any one of them can win the group. Any one of them can finish second. Any one of them can finish third. And any one of them can finish fourth. If you want to have a look and see who's playing on that last round in that particular group, Feyenoord and Lazio clash with Midtjylland and Sturm also, with Feyenoord and Midtjylland as the home teams. So again, that's really close to call. I wouldn't like to call that one. I really wouldn't. That could go any which way. Group G, Freiburg have wrapped it up, 13 points out of 5 matches, with Olympiacos. They're on 2 points after 5 matches. So both of those two teams are out of the equation for finishing third. So it's between Karabag and Nantes. Again, let's see what that last fixture is in that particular group. Well, there you go. Olympiacos, the whipping boys, are at home and they are playing Nantes, with Karabag, the home team, against Freiburg. Again, I suspect that Freiburg, having already wrapped up top spot, are very likely to put out something of a reserve team. So is that going to play into Karabag's hands? I wonder. Very probably it is. We then scroll down. We've got Group H, which is Ferencváros, Monaco, Trabzonspor, and Crvena Zvezda, or Red Star Belgrade if you prefer. So again, you would probably suggest that Ferencváros, although they haven't wrapped up the group, they're in pole position with that one game left. But let's have a look and see who they play on that last match. We come down here. Trabzonspor are at home against Ferencváros, and Monaco are at home against Crvena Zvezda, or Red Star Belgrade. So that again is an interesting one, because if Trabzonspor get the 3 points against Ferencváros, that puts them on 9 points. So then it drops Monaco down, and yeah, who's going to win that one? There's so many things that are still yet to be sorted out. I don't know which way this is going to go. I mean, is there anyone that you guys, out of that little list, is there anyone that you're secretly looking at and thinking, oh, I'd quite like them? I mean, personally, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, oh, I'd quite like Braga. That'd be quite nice. Anyway, let's have a little look and see what we've got in the live chat in my absence, whilst I've been waffling on. Tommy's gone. He said winning the Conference League would be amazing. Oh, you know it. And if anyone wants to know, because I've just given you the dates of the last 16, the final is on the 7th of June at the Fortuna Arena in Prague. Doesn't hold many. It's only a capacity of 19,370. And you know full well that by the time UEFA get their claws into it, with all of their dignitaries and sponsorship and all that bullshit, that we'll probably get about 2,000, or it'll be a piddling amount. We'll get bugger all in terms of our ticket allocation. That's just always the way. But I'll tell you what, if we make it, by hook or by crook, I'm going. And even if I don't get in the stadium, I'm going, just to be in around that. That would be absolutely amazing. Kent comes in and says, we're a right back. We are a right back, right wing back for me, and need a Defoe, Ashton striker. Yeah, I'll tell you what, if you could get an Ashton or a Defoe, oh, mate, we would be absolutely, shooting up that table, something rapid. Just a few little pleasantries being exchanged. Peter says, if by some miracle we won the Conference League, would Moyes get a tattoo like Mourinho? Maybe he would. Maybe he would. Who was it that got a tattoo in their later years? It was David Dimbleby, wasn't it? I think he was it, or is it Richard Dimbleby? One of the Dimbleby brothers was in his 70s or 80s, and he got a tattoo. Don't understand it. Why you've gone all that length of time, and then you go, oh, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll have a tattoo. It's all a bit weird. Kent says, I'd take the League Cup in 16th. Yeah, I'd listen, a trophy. To be honest with you, I think a European trophy would be, because if we win the League Cup, we go into the Conference League again, don't we? Whereas if we won the Conference League, we go into the Europa League. So on balance, I would prefer to have the Conference League in the trophy, as well as the fact that I think there's a little bit more prestige in winning a European trophy. All right, it's the lesser of the three, but I think I would probably prefer on balance to win the Conference League so that we get into the Europa League for next season. Do you still get Europe? Yeah. As I say, you would get the Conference League, mate. So, and in fact, Charlie's answered that ahead of me. Can see Newcastle getting 5th or 6th this season, Pete. They're looking good, I've got to say. And the frightening thing is that you know full well that if they're in a position where they're looking at it and thinking, oh, we might do something this season, they'll probably do what we should have done last season, and they'll go into the transfer market and they'll strengthen. Mind you say that, I mean, I'm old enough to remember in 96. I mean, the transfer window was a bit different then, but it looked like for all the world that Newcastle were going to win the Premier League. And they went and bought Faustino Asprilla, and in nipped Manchester United. Could you imagine if Cresswell robbed us of our dreams 2 years in a row? Epic. Don't. Just no. Listen, he didn't mean to do it. It's gone. Let's move on. Hope Roma don't drop down. Yes, exactly. Like I said, I would prefer Ludogorets rather than Roma. But if we face Roma in the last 16, that's a big tie. That's one of those. It would be like Sevilla all over again, because Sevilla were a big name in the Europa League. In fact, they pretty much owned the Europa League. Well, you could probably say at this precise moment in time, Roma own the Conference League. They have 100% win record in the competition as far as taking it home is concerned, because they're the only team that's ever won it so far. It would be quite nice to take it off of them, knock them out in a funny sort of way. If we could knock them out and then go on to win the title that they had the year before, that'd be quite a nice little bit of continuity. Cheers for that, Lee. Do appreciate you doing that as well. Andy comes in and says, all the sides in the Europa League are going to put full squads out as they want to win the group like us and miss a drop-down team from the Champions League. Yeah, fair point. Bill comes in and says, think the head-to-head is the deciding factor instead of goal difference, which could make things interesting. Yeah, I did notice that there was a few where they listed goal difference, and yet there was a couple of them where there was the team that had the inferior goal difference that was actually above, and that's kind of what I thought, is that it must be on head-to-head that's the first differentiator rather than goal difference. West Ham versus Roma quarterfinal would be epic. Tell you what, let's get Roma in the final. It'd be nice to get Rome if they drop down. It'd be nice to get them in the final, I think, and beat the champions in the final. That'd be pretty cool. Charlie comes in and says, avoid Union Berlin at all costs. They've been incredible this season, leading the Bundesliga and playing a system that would destroy us. That's confidence, Charlie. He's probably right. Who shot the sheriff? Not the deputy. Budgie, evening everyone. My apologies for missing the start. Not feeling too well at present. Well, all I can say on that, mate, is get well soon. But I'm not coming to kiss it better. And yeah, a few little pleasantries, just exchanging. Hi guys, I'm okay, thanks, Lee. Just food poisoning. Oh, was it something you ate yesterday at the stadium? Not good. Or is it alcohol poisoning? Come on, Budge, level with me. Not long till the World Cup. Yeah, it's getting closer, mate. Few little more pleasantries. Score prediction for Norwich versus Stoke, and Norwich really need a win. I'll tell you what, Elliot, what I'm going to do for you, because I'll be completely honest, I've not followed the fortunes of Norwich City. I couldn't even tell you who is where in the EFL Championship. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do real quick. I'm just going to have a little look and see who is where on the table. Norwich is 7th. Stoke are 17th. Straight away on that basis, mate, you should be winning that, shouldn't you? Is it your gaff? Just having a little look now. Yes, it's yours. You should have home advantage, mate. You should beat them. So I'll go 2-1. I think they'll make a game of it, but I'll go 2-1. Norwich win, and Elliot, you can have a really good Saturday. Let's have a look. Isn't it a bit unfair that the Boys League Cup triumph is so close to the conference last 16 matches? Listen, it's a funny season. I mean, obviously because of the World Cup, it's done all sorts of things with the fixture list. It's crazy. So yeah, but it is what it is. We just got to get on with it. No one's going to feel sorry for us at the end of the day. I mean, let's just get on with it. Kent comes in, says some fans are saying we should chuck the League Cup off. I don't believe it. That's the earliest trophy you can win. Yeah, do you know what? Because that was when Mourinho first went to Chelsea in his first spell. That was the first trophy that he won. And he actually turned around and said that actually created that sort of like winning mentality, the sort of like, here's a trophy. Now let's seal the deal in the Premier League. And a little while later, they did just that. I would take a League Cup, mate. Like I say, my preference, if I was being picky, and you said to me, in a world of make believe, either the League Cup or the Conference League, I'd go Conference League personally. There is a little part of me though that would like the League Cup from the point of view that not just that it's a bit of silverware and qualifies us for Europe. Yes, it would be the Conference League as opposed to the Europa League, which is what we would get if we won the Conference League. But it's a day out at Wembley. There are special moments. And we would get more of a ticket allocation, wouldn't we? In a stadium that holds 90,000 as a stadium that holds 19,000 in Eastern Europe. But there you go. Epic comes in and just says, I don't look a day older than 65. Thanks very much. Nothing more I can say. In 96, we signed Hearts and Kiss and Lomas and say, yes, it did. It did. Absolutely. I mean, everybody talks about Hearts and Kits, and Lomas seems to get forgotten about, in my view. But he was a tremendous player himself. And Kent's come in. He said 2-1 as well, and he's gone Sargent and Pookie. We have got the small matter of going to Old Trafford, Elliot, but we're not talking about that here. We've got that on the match preview, which should be tomorrow. I'm just coming on here to have a little ramble on about the match yesterday, which, like I say, let's be completely honest about it. It was job done. Wasn't a spectacle by any stretch of the imagination. It was a goal. It was a penalty. You could argue whether it was a penalty. Yes, no. Fact of the matter is, referee pointed to the spot. We got it converted. We're through as group winners. Doesn't matter. We can go to Bucharest next week. He can put out a team of kids. He can do what he wants. It doesn't matter if we got smashed 5-0. It really doesn't. We're through. Job done. Far too much alcohol. Fell asleep on the train home and landed in Brighton with no trains home. Waiting for my sister to get us. I brought a burger from a van near the station. And we know what happened next. It is what it is, mate. But I hope you're feeling better soon. You get 25 to 30,000 tickets for the League Cup. Very nice. Sounds good. Yeah, Budgie likes sort of going round the houses a little bit. West Ham 2-1 West Ham, says Elliot. I'll tell you what, I would take that all day long. Let's be completely honest, we don't have a fantastic record at Old Trafford, but every now and again, who remembers Carlos Tevez? Who remembers Paolo Di Canio? Every now and again we go up there and we do something that you weren't expecting. So you never know. You might have Van Ariel disease. He may do, or he might have. If fans of Fools and Horses might remember Uncle Albert talking about green parrot disease. If you do, then you're on the same page as me. And if you don't, there you go. I'd play the under 11s in Romania. Listen, mate, it really doesn't matter. He could play a team of kids. He could put out a team of cardboard cut out mannequins. It really doesn't matter. We could get smashed 5-0, 10-0. It doesn't matter. We're through. Job done. So it doesn't matter what happens in Bucharest now. We've won the group. We're seeded. We're gonna go through to the next 16, and we should go there with confidence, because I'm keeping my fingers crossed that by the time March comes around, we're going to have certain players that hopefully will have played into form. They won't be sort of sitting there and thinking, "Oh, I don't want to get injured because we've got a World Cup, in a month's time or whatever." The World Cup will be out of the way, so that won't be a consideration. That won't be a distraction, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that will be to our advantage. So yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm trying to be upbeat about it. You're lucky you had your brother with him. His snoring woke me up. I'm sure you did well there, mate. I'm sure you did well. Sergeant 2 says Elliot. I'm going Sunday, all being well. So I just hope we put up a fight. That's all we want as West Ham fans, is we want our team to go out and look like they're putting a shift in. And if they come off the pitch, win, lose or draw, if they've given everything that they've got, that'll do for me. That'll do for me. Glyn comes in. Is the new West Ham way pipe, blanket and slippers? Well, it's funny you should say that, because as I sit here, I've got a nice little tartan blanket. No, I'm not. No, I haven't. I'm actually sitting here. I'll be honest with you. I'm actually wearing a pair of shorts, nice little pair of shorts, because when I end the broadcast, which will be fairly imminently, I'm going to disappear down the gym. I'm going to have a little gym session. So yeah, I'm not pipe, slippers, blanket and all that. So yeah, I'm going to be down the gym. I'm going to be doing my thing. And Elliot says he's going. Good night. Hope you are well. Right. I've been rambling on for the last 52 and a bit minutes. Before I do wrap it up, there is something I'd like to ask you to do. There's 22 of you that are watching at this precise moment in time. But as far as the likes are concerned on this video is concerned, there's only 12 of it. 12. There's actually 13 now as I look. So if you guys that are watching, before we wrap it up, there's 23 of you. Just do us a favor. Go on to YouTube. You might be watching it on Facebook. You might be watching it on Twitter. But if you wouldn't mind, could you just hop over to YouTube, find us on YouTube, Forge from Iron, find this stream, and you've got the little thing where you've got the thumbs up. If you could do us a favor and just click on that. I know it sounds, you probably sit there, a lot of you guys, if you don't understand how it works, it does help the algorithms as far as the channel's concerned, and it gets us a little bit sort of like further up the pecking order, makes us a little bit more noticeable, and it would just help us out. It's as simple as that. Now, talking of helping out, there's something else that I'd like to just bring to your attention, if I may. Forge from Iron is proud to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations from Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough, 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United Football Club, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, Expedient Security, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bid you a fond farewell. But just to recap, we are through. We are into the last 16. Who we play is yet to be decided. As I say, we've got the draw. which will be taking place on the 24th of February next year. That is when we will decide, we'll find out who we are playing in the last 16. As I say, don't forget the two matches will take place on the 9th of March and the 16th of March. Because we are a seeded team, we will have the advantage, if you believe it's an advantage, of having the home leg as the second leg. That will be on the 16th of March. So put that on your calendar. 16th of March, we will be playing at London Stadium in the last 16 of the Conference League against an opposition yet to be decided. It will know that on the 24th of February. So that's pretty much us as far as that's concerned, ladies and gentlemen. As I say, please don't forget to drop a like on the stream. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and let's keep growing the channel little by little, bit by bit. We're not looking to take over the world. I've got to be honest with you, that's not going to happen. But just every day, if we can just grow a little bit incrementally, that will do us a treat. And there's someone that's coming in. Hang on a minute. I'm going to have to get the band hammer out. Boff, have some of that. Luke, you've turned up just as I'm going down the gym, mate. I'm sorry. I do apologise. But thanks for coming along, mate. We'll have a chat and next time. Hopefully you can come on. We'll have a little bit more of a chat. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. And yeah, thanks for coming. As I say, reasons to be cheerful. We're through as group winners and 5 wins out of 5. Yes, the football was a little bit at time, but we're into the last 16. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Doesn't matter how you do it. If you got to win ugly, win ugly. But we got the job done. Anyway, guys, lovely to spend some time with you. I'm off to the gym to throw some weights around. Thanks for coming. Come on, you irons. Thanks for watching.